In a final World Cup warm-up, highlights of today's Ireland-England Rugby Union friendly on BBC Two, right after the results of the day's football with Gabby Logan.
Relegation.
He was one of the heroes of the afternoon.
Applause from the away supporters. Go! The latest score is Wimbledon. Go through to the press.
John Terry's tears, we all remember. It was 2 crucial weeks.
Hello, welcome to Final Score. We've been having a lovely time on the red button with a busy afternoon of football, and there's been a lull in goals occasionally, but the wit and wisdom of these two has filled the silences. Making an impressive debut to the Final Score sofa is Robbie Savage, and the wide old sage next to him is, of course, Garth Crooks. It's a bit like Tom Cleverley looking over and getting a reassuring nod every now and again from Ryan Giggs. A very small bit like that. There were 2 lunchtime kickoffs in the Premier League today, so let's get the details from Villa Park, where there was a Midlands derby. And no goals was at the DW Stadium. 2 goals from Franco Di Santo gave Wigan their first win of the season, with QPR's new signing Joey Barton watching from the stands. Both goals took deflections, but Wigan worthy winners against newly promoted Rangers. Afterwards, QPR manager Neil Warnock told the BBC he hopes to bring in 4 or 5 more players before Wednesday's transfer deadline. Luke Young signing from Aston Villa was confirmed this morning. And this is what's happening in the 3 o'clock kickoffs today. It's Blackburn Rovers 0, Everton 0. Rovers did have the chance to take the lead from the penalty spot, but Tim Howard saved Junior Hoylett's spot kick. It's Chelsea 1, Norwich 1. Bit of a surprise at Stamford Bridge, where Grant Holt has pulled Norwich level. There'd been a big delay, though, after Didier Drogba was knocked out following an accidental collision with the Norwich keeper, John Ruddy. And it's Swansea 0, Sunderland 0. Both teams looking for their first win. The game much more entertaining. The goal line score there, the goalless score suggests. But let's go straight around the grounds to our reporters. First of all, to Stamford Bridge, where there has been much to talk about for Jonathan Ledger in the last 20 minutes or so.
Yes, the game's lost a lot of impetus, not surprisingly, because that injury to Didier Drogba, who took 6 minutes to be nursed onto a stretcher and then removed from the pitch after his collision with John Ruddy. As I speak, Chelsea move forward, and then the ball runs out over the goal line. But Chelsea very much in control to begin with, thanks to Pasinga's goal. They looked as if they're going to run away from Norwich, who then rediscovered some self-belief and then scored themselves just minutes before that injury to Didier Drogba, who was making his first start under the new coach André Villas-Boas. A mistake between Hilario and Ivanovic allowed Grant Holt to hook the ball spectacularly over his head into an empty net. Then Chelsea went down the other end, and that's when the collision happened, and that's when the game then slightly slowed. Chelsea now need to pick it up. They brought on their new signing from Valencia, Juan Mata. It's still 1-1, and Norwich doing all the holding at the moment.
Goals coming in the Championship for Hull, Cardiff and Burnley. We'll get the details on those in a moment, but let's go to Ewood Park, where there are no goals so far. And in fact, James Mason, the first half seemed to be dominated by Blackburn Rovers players pulling up with injuries.
Indeed, yeah. David Dunn and Morten Gams-Pedersen both going off before the half-time break. It's been an open game, as you say, lacking in goals, but certainly not in goal-scoring chances, and the majority of them falling to the home side. David Dunn hitting the post inside the first 10 minutes, and David Goodwillie only moments ago hitting the bar on as a substitute. With the chance of the game came from the penalty spot. Barkley felling Formica, but Junior Hoylett's tame effort was saved by Tim Howard. Everton have soaked up the pressure well and attacked sporadically on the break. Leighton Baines forcing a reaction save from Paul Robinson before Marwan Fellaini side-footed over the bar when he should have scored. It's goalless, but will it be at full time?
Stranraer thrashing Montrose this afternoon. Michael Moore there with their 6th goal of the day. But we're going to continue with our Premier League roundup. The third match of the 3 o'clock kickoffs is at the Liberty Stadium. Mark Webber watching. It's goalless, but I can't believe it still is goalless. Every time I look, there's another chance for either team.
Gabby, I share your disbelief. Swansea City 0, Sunderland 0. Frustration for both sides in an end-to-end encounter. Swansea's best chance falling to Scott Sinclair, hitting the woodwork in the first half. Danny Graham's finishing been a little bit lacklustre as well. He could have knocked a few past. At the other end, John O'Shea hit the crossbar early. They've been denied some good work by and good opportunities as well by the Swansea keeper, Michael Thorm, who is really hitting the headlines, as we all know. But neither side really showing sign of relenting in this endless pursuit of a goal. and this endless quest for 3 league points. Swansea City 0, Sunderland 0.
So let's have a little chat then about the 3 Premier League matches that are playing at the moment. The scorelines wouldn't suggest a huge deal of excitement, but it has been actually quite a busy afternoon, hasn't it? Let's talk first of all about Stamford Bridge and Chelsea-Norwich.
Well, I mean, the way it started, you can be forgiven for thinking that Norwich are going to come and get a battering at Stamford Bridge. Chelsea start brightly, Basinga, great goal, 25-yard, and Ruddy is very angry because he's not closed down Basinga. It's a free shot, practically, from 25 yards. But as the game wears on, Norwich seem to get their confidence. And beyond that, they start to believe they can get something out of the game. Now, I did say at the top of the show that I don't know why, there's no logic to this, but I fancy Norwich to get something out of this for the simple reason. I saw West Brom last week, and if they'd have believed, they'd have got a result. I really did think that, and Chelsea didn't play well. And Norwich have got Chelsea, but on the rack at the moment, to be honest with you.
Norwich should be winning the second half. They took the game to Chelsea. As Garth said, first 20 minutes, they sat back. But now Norwich in the second half, they should be winning the game.
Didier Drogba, we understand, has gone straight to hospital. The other 2 matches goalless at the moment. But yet again, like last week, and I know you two weren't in this position last week, we couldn't believe Swansea couldn't score.
Did everything.
And it's the same today.
Did everything apart from at the back of the net. But having said that, Sunderland, Gudgin, who I think is a little bit off the boil this season, has had 2 gilt-edged chances, but could have squared it to a player for a side foot. Now, big question is, if this ends up 0-0, Steve Bruce will be saying, listen, are we playing for the team here or not? We could have won this.
Penalty at Chelsea.
OK, thank you for that, Robbie. Let's go to Stamford Bridge.
Yes,
CP's right. Jonathan
and he's gone. Sent off.
It was a brave call, but it obviously is right.
It's a red card, and it is a penalty. Ramirez streaking through after there was a really good chance, just as Robbie and Garth were talking, because Norwich were really pressing, and then suddenly there was a breakaway, spearheaded by the man who came on and replaced Drogba, Nicholas Anelka. Through went Ramirez, streaking into the area, looked to overrun it. Out came Ruddy, but at the moment the card looked to be flourished. Just having another replay just to see who it was. It was down. He went down to the challenge of Ruddy, so this could be Ruddy. It is Ruddy sent off. So Ruddy indeed is being sent off, and the Chelsea crowd enjoying this. It's now going to be Lampard. And this is going to be a quick change. It is by Norwich, so this could take some time. All sorts of anger being directed towards the referee, Mike Jones. Chris Martin's had a word, Tierney's had a word. So while we wait, we'll hand back to you. But John Ruddy is off. Takes a rather consoling handshake from Malouda.
Thank you, Jonathan. What a terrible afternoon he's having. An accidental clattering of Drogba, who's now gone to hospital. Now he's off, Ruddy. We'll go back and hear the penalty in a moment. But let's go to Pride Park, where there have been a couple of goals since the last time we spoke. Ivan Gaskell.
Yes, form book upside down here. Derby making such a fine start, but not in this game. Burnley ahead, Austin after 50 minutes, and he scored a second just moments ago. In between, Theo Robinson, a half-time sub, had squared it. Derby back in the game, and then a fielding mistake in goal. Austin tied it up. It's 2-1 Burnley.
Finally, they're missing you. Let's go to the Riverside Stadium now. Paul Addison, a goal for Coventry.
Yes, and deserved on the second half performance too. Borough 1, Coventry 1. I think the last touch came from Lucas Jutkovic. Borough just couldn't clear, and the Sky Blues are level at 1-1.
Let's go to Selhurst Park, an equaliser for the home side against Blackpool. Tony Lockwood will tell us all about that in a moment. But let's actually get an update from Portman Road, because Ipswich have equalised as well.
Yeah, they have. Jason Scotland, a lovely individual goal on the edge of the area, left-footed. He'd only just come on as a substitute. They're playing against a 10-man Leeds team. Aidan White has been sent off. The game changed when that happened, and Ipswich now on the up, 1-1.
Straight to Stamford Bridge, Jonathan Ledyard.
It's Lampard against the substitute goalkeeper Declan Rudd. Lose the Y, and you got the keeper. So it's 1-1 at the moment. Lampard runs up and scores straight down the middle. Was never going to miss. Rudd just went right. So Chelsea breathe again. Norwich now have to last 9 minutes plus an extra 5. So 15 we should have at least, with only 10 men.
Absolutely no shame in their performance this afternoon, Norwich.
No, but it was a definite penalty, Gab. Ramirez has bursting run from midfield. I think it was that Whitbread stayed on his feet to start with. Could have took him down. It was a heavy touch for Ramirez, but it's a stonewall penalty. Would Ramirez have got the ball? Arguably, but sent it off for me.
Jonathan touched on this a little bit earlier on, that he felt the Chelsea players were feeling a little bit aggrieved that there were bully boy tactics by the Norwich players. He didn't agree with that. Have you seen enough of it to say that actually that's the case?
I think this is on Match of the Day today. I mean, there are moments in the box where Chelsea want to impose themselves on Norwich. And Norwich is saying, no, we're not going to let you do that. And Holt in particular stands up to them, and quite rightly in my view. But Robbie's absolutely right with the penalty. You see the guy chasing Ramirez, or I think is Croft, I'm not sure, stands up and lets him through because he knows...
Penalty at Blackburn.
Oh, you've done it again.
Sorry, Garth. I'm getting good at this.
Let's go there. James Mason, is he right?
He is right. I think this is a definite penalty as well. It's Mauro Formica who has the ball this time, and he was the player felled in the area by number 15, Sylvain Distin. Formica has looked very, very good since he came on in the first half for Pedersen. Lee Mason so having to award 2 penalties now to Blackburn. The first one, of course, missed by Junior Hoylett, but this time any good striker will know Formica picked the ball up and said, I want this, I'm going to score. There is just a small break in play while Tim Howard is trying a bit of, well, the mind games, as it were, making Formica wait. Lee Mason asked the players to stand back from the penalty spot. He blows his whistle, so this will be take 2 for Blackburn Rovers. And they've missed again. I can't believe it. This time, Howard went the wrong way. Formica has hit the side of the post. 2 penalties, both missed for Blackburn Rovers. It's 0-0.
2 missed penalties.
I played in the last game, Gabby, for Blackburn. When they missed 2 penalties at home to, it was Bolton. Jeskalainen saved 2. It's happened against them, so it's against Everton. To be fair, he's setting the keeper the wrong way, hit the inside of the post. It was a definite penalty. Formica's made a huge impact when he's come on, but massive turning point. The big turning point was Dunn and Pedersen going off in the first half, and one of them would have took either penalty. Huge day for Blackburn.
That is the turning point. I can't believe how unlucky Steve Keane has been on this issue.
Yeah.
Those 2 players would have converted both of those penalties.
You're a rare thing, Robbie. You're a man who can do 2 things at once. You were listening to Garth, noticing penalties going around.
Garth was boring me.
Hey, careful.
Don't worry, I'll get him for you. OK, let's go to Selhurst Park. Tony Lockwood, fill us in on the details there.
Well, it's Glenn Murray who's made the difference, Gabby. He's come off the bench with the desired effect for manager Dougie Freedman. A neat finish from a couple of yards out. Alex Baptiste had given Blackpool the leads. They looked comfortable, not anymore. Murray has made the difference, and he almost got a second a few moments ago. Palace back in this encounter. It's 1-1 at Selhurst Park.
And Huddersfield are now 3-0 up at the Gal Farm against Wycombe. But we're going to go to Fratton Park now, and we haven't heard from you for a while, Tony Husband, and there's been a goal since that time.
Yes, indeed, there's been a couple. Cardiff took the lead with 19 minutes to play when Don Cowie set up Andrew Taylor just inside the left edge of the penalty area. Good finish from him, and that followed 2 goal line clearances from Cardiff through Rob Earnshaw and Peter Whittingham. But 3 years ago, a player called Carnu, of course, broke Cardiff hearts at Wembley. He's come off the bench as a substitute for Portsmouth today, and he's equalised for Portsmouth in the last few moments, converting a Ben Haim cross. 8 minutes to play, 1-1.
Let's go to the KC Stadium now. Hull today searching for their first goal and their first points of the season, at home anyway. Steve Sutton, it could be about to happen.
Well, they're looking on course to get both of them at the moment, Gabby. They lead by a goal to nil. It was a long time coming, but well worth it when it did on 73 minutes. Robert Brady down the right. Some would say it was a cross that he mishit. Don't believe it. He knew that the keeper Federici was off his line, and he curled it beautifully into the top corner of the net. Hull City 1, Reading 0.
And at the Keepmoat Stadium, Doncaster might be about to get their first point of the season as well, and that's Premji.
Does look like it, Gabby. Doncaster Rovers 1, Bristol City 1. It was James Hayter with a downward header which sneaked over the line despite it being cleared by a City defender from over the line. The referee said it did sneak over. They are level, and since the goal, they are battering Bristol City, looking for this first win of this campaign. Doncaster Rovers 1, Bristol City 1.
Let's go to the King Power Stadium now. Steve Lee watching the team who were flawless until today. Southampton, they'd won all their 5 games this season, scored 14 goals, but Leicester might have hit a bit of form.
Yes, 81 minutes gone. Leicester 3, Southampton 2. 5 goals and plenty of evidence that both these sides will be involved in a promotion shake-up by the end of the season. Leicester's goals from Vassell, Wellens and an own goal from Ricky Lambert. Dan Harding headed one back for the Saints in the first half, and a second-half stooping header from David Connolly has left this match on a knife edge. Southampton chasing their 5th league victory in a row. That will be a club record, and you wouldn't count them out even at this stage.
Brighton haven't lost this season, and it's not looking like that's going to change today. Andy Barwell is at the Amex.
No, it's Brighton 2-0 ahead. A little tough on Peterborough, who've competed pretty well this afternoon, but Brighton took the lead on 10 minutes through Craig Noon's left-foot drive. Peterborough always threatening to get back into this, just requiring that finish, which they showed in abundance against Ipswich last week. But the game was surely put beyond doubt by a goal of the highest quality, a 30-yard free kick from Ryan Harley. It was a corker, absolute perfection. Brighton 2, Peterborough 0.
And let's go to the Den now. John Anderson watching Barnsley, the visitors there.
Yeah, poor game overall. It's still 0-0. Millwall doing their best to try and nick all 3 points. They've had the majority of the chances in the second half. Josh McQuoid, who missed a sitter in the first half, put a 20-yarder just over. Hammer Boatsa curled a free kick a couple of inches wide of the post. And then John Marquis, a substitute, just missing the same post by roughly the same distance. Chance for Barnsley, but it's knocked away. Millwall 0, Barnsley 0.
And having said that, Motherwell looked like they had an unassailable lead, Dunfermline have gone and scored not 1 but 2 now at East End Park. Brian McLaughlin.
Yes, they have, but Motherwell have just scored their 4th goal, Gabby, so the score is Dunfermline 2, Motherwell 4. Joe Cardle set up a grandstand finish just a moment ago when he scored Dunfermline's 2nd goal. They were pushing more and more men forward. Motherwell, though, came back up the field. Humphrey had the ball on the right, played it across the 6-yard box, and there was Michael Higdon to hammer the ball into the back of the net. We're now going into stoppage time here at East End Park. It's been a terrific game. Motherwell were 3-0 up through Higdon, Murphy and Humphrey. Graham and Cardle made it 3-2, but then Higdon, with the 2nd of the game, looked set to send Motherwell to the top of the SPL. It's Dunfermline 2, Motherwell 4.
Let's stay with the SPL and get the details on that goal for Dundee United at McDiarmid Park. Ian Turner.
Yeah, not just that goal, 2 goals. Dundee United, having led 1-0 and then trailed 3-1, are now back at 3-all. 2 goals in 3 minutes. First of all, substitute Gary Mackay-Stevens. He had only been in the field for 3 minutes. He got a tap in from 3 yards after a great run from Johnny Russell, and then Gavin Gunning with a pile driver of a header from a corner. Just 3 minutes later, he rose high, he drove it with his head into the back of the net. United had led after 42 seconds through Barry Douglas, but 2 goals from Francisco Sandaza and 1 from Liam Craig had St Johnstone seemingly an easy street, but what a great comeback from United, 3-all.
Looks like there's a comeback on the cards at Portman Road as well. Robin Bailey.
Ipswich, it looks like they've won it in the last minute. Keith Andrews, a speculative shot. He was in a good position, but 25 yards out, he hits it, and it cannons off, I think, Adam Clayton in the Leeds defence, right the way over Andy Lonergan, and that's 2-1 Ipswich against 10-man Leeds, who are now arguing among themselves. Ipswich 2, Leeds 1.
Let's go to Ewood Park and get the details of what looks like it's a penalty for Everton. James Mason.
Yes, I think a penalty has been given. It's absolutely unbelievable. The 3rd penalty of the match, this time to Everton, and wouldn't it be cruel justice if they go and score? Marouane Fellaini is down on the floor at the moment, lying on his back, so we hope he's OK. You may have to come back to me because he does look badly injured, and I think it was Stephen Zonzi who gave away the penalty. So we're into time added on, and this is going to be a 3rd penalty of the game to Everton, if you want to come back to me in a moment's time.
OK, we'll come back to that in a minute and come back to you two in a minute. But let's go to the team who are at the top of League One at the moment. MK Dons up against Stevenage, holding on to a 1-0 lead. Mark Bishop.
MK Dons 1, Stevenage 0. Huge stadium, this, Gabby. It'll have its capacity increased to 30,000 at the start of next season. Such is the confidence rippling through this club, which Pete Winkleman built just under 8 years ago. Would you believe that? 8,123 today's attendance. They've been treated to some sumptuous exhibition-style football from the home side. Charlie McDonnell getting on the end of Chadwick's pass. League One new boys, though, they've had their moments. Martin tipping a shot from Thalasitis onto the crossbar. Seconds later, Chadwick heading Ashton's effort off the line. Great game. The Dons are flying, and they're leading by 1-0.
Let's go back to Ewood Park. James Mason, the penalty about to be taken.
Yes, and it's Mikel Arteta, the Spaniard, back in the Everton lineup today. Just been asked by Lee Mason to put the ball on the penalty spot in front of the Darwin end here at Blackburn, in front of the Everton fans. He steps up, 3 steps, side-footed, and scores. Of course he does. Mikel Arteta runs away to the Everton fans in the final minutes of this match. Everton have twice conceded penalties. Blackburn have missed them twice, and Mikel Arteta looks to have robbed the point. A genuine smash and grab result this for Everton. They've had no right to get a point from this game, let alone all 3. It's Blackburn Rovers 0, Everton 1.
Lee Mason says it all.
Shocking decision.
They
by the
don't
referee.
deserve to get 1, much less 3, and they've got all 3. It's daylight robbery.
It's a throw-in. It's a throw-in from the right-hand side. And Zonzi's in front. Samba's come over Fellaini, won the header cleanly. Lee Mason, shocking. That's absolutely shocking.
It's a poor decision.
Poor decision. Great penalty by Arteta, though. Calm, calculated, sent Robinson the wrong way.
Never.
What more can Steve Keane do?
Never a penalty.
Never.
OK, let's go to Gig Lane now and get an update from Richard Askham. Cheltenham 1-0 behind. They're now 2-1 up.
Yes, they are, Gabby. They responded superbly to going a goal down. A Paul Hayes header got them back in it. Johnny Jackson's neat slotted finish after a lovely defence splitting pass from Dale Stevens gave the Addicts the lead. This after Ryan Lowe had put Bury in front with his 7th of the season, but it's 2-1 to the Addicts.
Let's go to Griffin Park now and check it with Jackie Oatley.
Yes, it's Brentford 0, Tranmere 2, and Tranmere going above Brentford as things stand, and deservedly so. They've been inspired by Rovers fan Andy Robinson, who crossed for Robbie. Scored the second himself from 25 yards out, just 37 seconds into the second half. Devaney's also had a couple of good chances to make it 3-0 to Tranmere. Donaldson going closest for Brentford, but they've been very poor overall. Brentford 0, Tranmere 2.
Let's go to Selhurst Park now. The full-time whistle has been blown. Tony Lockwood.
For an hour, Blackpool boss proceedings, but a late Palace revival gave the hosts a share of the points. Alex Baptiste found the way through for the Seasiders before the interval, put through by Gary Taylor-Fletcher. He struck the ball into the bottom corner. Glenn Murray came off the bench for Palace to equalise. A neat flick from 2 yards out. He could have won it. He squandered 2 goal-scoring opportunities, but Palace have a share of the points. Full-time, Crystal Palace 1, Blackpool 1.
And the full-time whistle has blown at Ewood Park, and James Mason, Everton will really feel like they've got away with it there.
Oh, unbelievable. I said unbelievable, I didn't mean to say it again, but what other word can you use? Everton have won this game with almost the final kick of the game. Mikel Arteta, as I described earlier, scoring from 12 yards after Lee Mason probably gave the third, well, the third penalty was maybe never a penalty. The first 2 were, so let's start with them. Blackburn awarded a penalty just inside the second half. Junior Hoylett taking this one. A tame effort saved by Tim Howard after Mauro Formica, the substitute, had been brought down. And Formica then took a penalty himself, brought down this time by Sylvain Distin. A cast iron penalty, hit the post. It looked like it was going to be one of those days for Blackburn. 0-0, they'll take a point and move on. But such is the game of football. A penalty awarded against them, and it probably wasn't. Robbie Savage doesn't think it was. Garth Crooks doesn't. I don't think it was. Blackburn Rovers won't think it will be. The Everton fans won't care. They seem to have got all 3 points with the last kick of the game. An unbelievable game. Why not? Blackburn Rovers 0, Everton 1.
Thank you very much, James. It's all over at East End Park. Brian McLaughlin.
Yes, it finished Dunfermline 2, Motherwell 4. A game that Motherwell had wrapped up by half-time. Higdon and Murphy on target before the break. Murphy then set up Humphrey later on for a third. So 3-0 up before the hour. They thought the game was dead and buried in. But Graham and Cardle scored late on for Dunfermline to set up a grandstand finish, only for Michael Higdon to score his 2nd of the afternoon and send Motherwell to the top of the SPL. At East End Park, it finished Dunfermline 2, Motherwell 4.
And let's go to the Riverside Stadium now. Paul Addison all over there, and the spoils shared.
And Coventry will be delighted, and I think on the balance of play they deserve their points. Borough 1, Coventry 1, the home side 1-0 up and absolutely cruising at half-time. Marvin Emnes is 7th of the season on 21 minutes, and they could and should have had more, but they didn't, and they were pegged back in the second half. The equaliser on 76 minutes. Borough couldn't clear Roy O'Donovan's shot. Lucas Jutkovic was the quickest to react, and he bundled it in for his 2nd of the season. Faris Haroun on as a sub for Borough, headed against the bar with the last act of the game. It was thrilling in the end. It finished Borough 1, Coventry 1.
And it's all over at the Liberty Stadium, and it's finished incredibly, Mark Webber, goalless.
Indeed, Swansea City 0, Sunderland 0. High tempo led to high expectation, but ended in Steve Bruce chucking his water bottle in frustration. Paul finishing to blame at both ends, to be fair, mixed with super saves from Mingale to stop Graham and Baum to stop sub Connor Wickham, both alone in the area. If the league gave points for effort, this would have been a 6-pointer both ways. I suspect the draw will be more welcomed though by Brendan Rodgers than Steve Bruce. I wouldn't have wanted to be that bottle of water, Gabby. Swansea City 0, Sunderland 0.
Thank you, Mark. Let's go to Portman Road. It's all over there. Robin Bailey can tell us the story.
Well, it's amazing, really. Ipswich found a way to win. They didn't play well all day, really, but the game turned after Ross McCormack had put Leeds ahead in the first half. It turned 4 minutes after the break. Aidan White sent off for a foul on J. Emmanuel Thomas. Ipswich, they weren't good, but they managed to get 2 brilliant goals at the end. Well, certainly the equaliser from Jason Scotland from 25 yards was brilliant. And then there was a deflected winner from Keith Andrews a minute from time. Ipswich's nightmare is over after that 7-1 against Peterborough.
And Brighton keep up their winning ways at the Amex Stadium. Andy Barwell.
Uncomfortable at times for Brighton, but still a 2-0 success this afternoon. 4 wins out of 5 and still unbeaten in the Championship. Craig Noone and a cracking free kick from Ryan Harley settled this. Peterborough's downfall again, their inability to keep a clean sheet, and they had no luck in front of goal. Brighton's record signing Craig Michael-Smith had a quiet game against his old club. Full-time, Brighton 2, Peterborough 0.
Hull have finally got off the mark at home. Steve Sutton.
Yes, they have. 1-0 to Hull. First home win, first home goal. We had to wait until the 73rd minute of the second half. Robert Brady with a beautiful curling cross from the right into the top corner of the net. Chances at both ends, but Hull deserving the 3 points. 1-0 to the home side.
OK, let's go to Fratton Park now. Tony Husbands just watched the visit of Cardiff.
Full-time whistle's just gone. Ultimately entertaining clash, which neither side really deserved to lose, given the effort they both put in. Cardiff had broken the deadlock 19 minutes from time. Andrew Taylor with a well-placed finish past Portsmouth keeper Jamie Ashdown. Minutes before, Portsmouth had had 2 efforts cleared off the line in some desperate defending. Substitute Carnu in the end, the man whose goal won Portsmouth the cup final against Cardiff 3 years ago, returned to haunt the visitors, heading in an equaliser 10 minutes from time.
And it's all over at the Den. John Anderson.
Yes, Millwall 0, Barnsley 0, a point apiece from a largely uninspiring affair, which Millwall just about shaded. They should have had the lead in the first half. Josh McCoy missing an absolute sitter with the goal at his mercy. Barnsley briefly threatened at the start of the second period, but Millwall had chances to win it. Hammer Buatsa and John Marquis missing by mere inches, while Luke Steele denied Darius Henderson. But they couldn't break down a resolute Tykes rearguard, and it ended Millwall 0, Barnsley 0.
And it's all over at the Keepmoat. Naz Premji.
Doncaster Rovers 1, Bristol City 1, a first point for the home side, and well deserved on their second half display. They went behind through Albert Adoma's late strike in the first period. In the second, James Hayter missed a penalty after Carl Bennett was fouled by Cole Scouse. Hayter then made amends with a downward header which sneaked over the line. They then peppered the Robins backline looking for a winner, couldn't find one. David James in inspired form for Bristol City. It's finished here, Doncaster Rovers 1, Bristol City 1.
Let's go to Stamford Bridge. They're still playing because of injury time there, and there's another goal, Jonathan Ledyard.
And it's gone to the home side, and it's gone to their new signing from Valencia, Juan Mata, cutting into the penalty area, tight and beats Declan Run, the second half substitute goalkeeper for Norwich, after John Ruddy was sent off at his far post. They're really rubbing it in here, Chelsea, because Norwich deserved at least a point. They were undone seriously by that sending off, and now they're really suffering. They're 3-1, and we've just got about a minute to go.
OK, that puts Chelsea top. They go above Wolverhampton Wanderers this evening. And you're shaking your head.
They've done it again. They've got out of jail. 2 weeks on the trot. I'm no more convinced this week by Villamot Boas or his team than I was last week against West Brom.
And 1-0, Morrison had a great chance. 1-on-1 with the keeper, too slow. Terry, great challenge. But there, the goal there. You know, Richie Delat, terrible pass across his goal. But Mata opened his body out, bent it around the keeper. Great finish from Mata.
And if, as a new player, you come in, you know, that's exactly what you want to do, isn't it, in your first match?
Cool
Just
finish.
get that out of the way.
Torres must be grinding his teeth in anger.
But Norwich should have got something. Garth was right at the start of the programme, Gabby. He said Norwich can get something, and they should have.
OK, let's go to Pride Park. It's all over there. Ivan Gaskell.
No less than 8 minutes played of injury time here, but Derby still couldn't pull their way into get a point. Derby went into this one intent on matching a 106-year-old club record of 5 consecutive league wins from the start of the season, but it was Burnley who belied their sluggish start with a bright, energetic display which deserved a win. They got it. Charlie Austin put Burnley ahead just after the break. That was when Derby came to life at last. Theo Robinson levelled it from the bench. Austin, though, right at the end, after Fielding had let it spill from his grasp, gleefully whipping in the rebound to win it deservedly for Burnley.
Full time then at Stamford Bridge. Jonathan Ledyard has the details. And it's all over at the King Power Stadium. Lee.
Yes, cracking match. Both these sides serving up a real treat for 23,000 fans. Some relieved faces on the Leicester bench, I could tell you at the end, at the final whistle, particularly Sven, after Southampton threatened to grab a point. They probably deserved it. Kasper Schmeichel, the villain last week, the hero this with late acrobatic saves. Leicester's goals from Vassell, Wellens and Richie Lambert own goal. Southampton's from Dan Harding and David Connolly. The march of the Saints has been stopped in the East Midlands, but only just.
Thank you, Steve. Let's get the full classified results now with Tim Gudgin.
And first, the Barclays Premier League. Aston Villa 0, Wolverhampton Wanderers 0. Blackburn Rovers 0, Everton 1. Chelsea 3, Norwich City 1. Liverpool and Bolton Wanderers kick off at 5:30. Swansea City 0, Sunderland 0. Wigan Athletic 2, Queen's Park Rangers 0. In the Empire Championship, Brighton Hove Albion 2, Peterborough United 0. Crystal Palace 1, Blackpool 1. Derby County 1, Burnley 2. Doncaster Rovers 1, Bristol City 1. Hull City 1, Reading 0. Ipswich Town 2, Leeds United 1. Leicester City 3, Southampton 2. Middlesbrough 1, Coventry City 1. Millwall 0, Barnsley 0. And Portsmouth 1, Cardiff City 1. In League 1, AFC Bournemouth 0, Walsall 2. Brentford 0, Tranmere Rovers 2. Bury 1, Charlton Athletic 2. Colchester United 4, Oldham Athletic 1. Exeter City 2, Chesterfield 1. Huddersfield Town 3, Wycombe Wanderers 0. Leyton Orient 1, Carlisle United 2. Milton Keynes Dons 1, Stevenage 0. Preston North End 2, Notts County 0. Rochdale 1, Hartlepool United 3. Sheffield Wednesday 3, Scunthorpe United 2. Yeovil Town 0, Sheffield United 1. In League 2, Accrington Stanley 2, Burton Albion 1. Bradford City 4, Barnet 2. Bristol Rovers 0, Hereford United 0. Cheltenham Town 3, Crawley Town 1. Dagenham and Redbridge 1, Torquay United 1. Macclesfield Town 4, AFC Wimbledon 0. Northampton Town 0, Morecambe 2. Oxford United 1, Aldershot Town 1. Plymouth Argyle 0, Crewe Alexandra 1. Port Vale 2, Southend United 3. Rotherham United 3, Gillingham 0. And Shrewsbury Town 2, Swindon Town 1. In the Blue Square Premier, AFC Telford United 2, Newport County 1. Alfreton Town 1, Wrexham 4. Barrow 1, Gateshead 2. Bath City 0, Tamworth 2. Cambridge United 2, Hayes and Yeading United 1. Ebbsfleet United 1, Forest Green Rovers 1. Grimsby Town 1, Darlington 2. Kidderminster 2, Southport 0. Luton 3, Braintree Town 1. And Mansfield Town 3, Kettering Town 0. In the Clydesdale Bank Scottish Premier League, Dunfermline 2, Motherwell 4. Inverness Caledonian Thistle 2, Kilmarnock 1. And St Johnstone 3, Dundee United 3. In the Arnbrew Scottish Division 1, Ayr United 2, Raith Rovers 1. Dundee 0, Greenock Morton 1. Falkirk 1. Ross County 1. Hamilton Academical 1. Livingston 1. And Partick Thistle 2. Queen of the South 1. In Scottish Div 2, Albion Rovers 1. Brechin City 2. Arbroath 4. Stirling Albion 2. East Fife 0. Dumbarton 6. Forfar Athletic 3. Airdrie United 2. And Stenhousemuir 3. Cowdenreath 1. And Scottish Div 3, Alloa Athletic 2, Peterhead 1. Annan Athletic 1, Clyde 0. Elgin City 2, East Stirlingshire 0. Montrose 0, Stranraer 6. And Queen's Park 1, Berwick Rangers 1. In the Corbett Sports Welsh Premier, Bangor City 1, Aberystwyth Town 1. That's a late score. And Newtown 0, Ballartown 2. Carling Premiership, Linfield 0, Glentorrent 1. And Lisbon Distillery 1, Cliftonville 2.
Let's have a little look at the tables then. Chelsea are the league leaders after seeing off 10-man Norwich. Wolves, who only just avoided the drop in May, are below them on goal difference after their lunchtime draw at Aston Villa. Manchester City and Manchester United, who both play tomorrow, complete the top floor at this early stage, the top four that'll be. At the bottom, Blackburn paid the penalty for 2 missed spot kicks this afternoon. They remain bottom after losing at home to Everton and have not got a point yet. Tottenham play Manchester City tomorrow. West Brom are the only other side without a point. They host Stoke tomorrow. On to the Championship. Well, these are sunny times on the South Coast. Newly promoted Brighton are top of the table now, with overnight leaders Southampton in second place, despite their 100% start to the season ending today. Derby also suffered their first defeat, while Middlesbrough and Crystal Palace both drew. Doncaster's first point of the season at the bottom of the table is not enough to take them off the bottom, as Coventry also earned a draw. Watford and Birmingham have yet to play. To League One, MK Dons enjoying their best ever league start. They remain top after beating Stevenage 1-0. Charlton and Sheffield United both won this afternoon as well. They're level on points with the leaders. Phil Brown's Preston climbed to fourth after beating Notts County 2-0. At the other end, Leyton Orient still waiting for their first point. They were beaten 2-1 at home by Carlisle. Chesterfield slip into the bottom two after losing at Exeter. Rochdale, who beat QPR in the Carling Cup in midweek, continue to struggle in the league. They lost 3-1 to Hartlepool. On to League Two. Rotherham are the new league leaders and the only unbeaten side in the division. Morecambe move up 2 places to second as Crawley and Gillingham both lost. Cheltenham and Southend both climb 6 places. At the bottom, Plymouth have slipped to the foot of the table following their home defeat by previously winless Crewe. Hereford earned only their second point of the campaign, but Swindon lost. And to the Blue Square Premier table, Wrexham are the new leaders after they beat Alfreton. They're above Gateshead on goal difference at this early stage of the season. Alfreton are bottom after that loss to the leaders, below Southport and Bath on goal difference. So Motherwell are back on top of the SPL, although the Old Firm clubs both have 2 games in hand and didn't play today. Hibernian are bottom as Inverness earned their first win of the season. OK, let's get the headlines from the Premier League today. Blackburn Rovers 0, Everton 1. Mikel Arteta's late penalty giving Everton a dramatic win after Blackburn had missed 2 penalties of their own. Rovers still without a point this season and only have themselves to blame. Wigan 2, QPR 0. 2 goals from Franco Di Santo gave Wigan their first win of the season against newly promoted Rangers. Joey Barton was watching his new team from the stands. Goalless at the Liberty Stadium, thanks in part to Swansea's Vava Vorm, the Dutch goalkeeper excelling again as the points are shared. And at Villa Park, well, you can see all of that, including 2 more goalless draws to add to the 5 out of 21 so far this season. That makes it 7 so far. Match of the day with Gary and Mr Shearer and Mr Dixon at 10:30 on BBC One tonight. Repeated again tomorrow morning, of course. And then all of the Football League rounded up for you by Manish at 10 to midnight. And then match of the day 2, back on BBC One this week, including Manchester United against Arsenal. Of course, Newcastle playing Fulham, Spurs, Man City and West Brom Stoke. So a bumper day for you tomorrow. That's 10:25 on BBC One. Well, a dramatic win in the end for Chelsea. Let's hear from Romelu Lukaku.
Romelu, a terrific contest today and in the end a right result for you.
Yeah, we won 3-1. It was a hard battle, but the 3 points are the more important. I think we'd have to continue like that.
Were you surprised not by Norwich's commitment, but perhaps by their quality today?
Yeah, they played very well. I think they had very good wingers, and the striker, that Holt, was very strong today. But we managed to play well, and I think we won. That's most important.
And for you personally, I know you're a Chelsea fan. What's it been like coming to the club you support?
It's very amazing. I did my best today, and I want to continue like that. And I hope hopefully make some minutes and be helpful for the team.
There's a debut goal for Juan Mata today. What do you think you and him, especially, and Oriol Romeu, can contribute to the side this season?
We know we are all young players, and I think we have to improve. That's the most important to be Chelsea legends.
Thanks, Romano. Best of luck.
Thank you very much.
OK, let's cross over to John Motson, who was there for Match of the Day. Motty, the boys here think that Norwich really will feel aggrieved at that and deserved a point from their endeavours.
Well, that may be the case. I mean, the two things that you've referred to which come out of this, obviously a serious injury to Drogba. We'll know more about that when we get the report from the hospital. The turning point in the game, after Holt had equalised for Norwich, was the penalty and the sending off of the Norwich goalkeeper. Now, it's one of those where Ramirez is clear. I thought he slightly overran the ball. Not that should necessarily be the determining factor. When he went round the goalkeeper, was there contact? The referee said there was. Lampard scored from the penalty, and that really was the turning point, and that ended, realistically, any chance Norwich had of taking something from the game. Having said that, it was a scratchy Chelsea performance, rather like last week. They didn't play with the fluency that you might have expected, and Norwich made them work very, very hard for the victory.
Yeah, and it was mentioned by Jonathan Ledyard that the Chelsea players seemed to think that the Norwich players were being a bit bully boy and that, you know, maybe pushing it a little bit too far, although Jonathan said that wasn't the case. Did you suspect that was the tactics today?
Well, I think there was a bit of give and take. I mean, Chelsea are big boys themselves, aren't they? I think what Chelsea will be concerned about was the misunderstanding between Ivanovic and Hilario, who, of course, is playing in place of the injured Petr Cech, which gave Grant Holt the chance to put Norwich back into the game, because that really gave them some real encouragement, I thought, in these early stages of being a Premier League side. My impression is, having seen Torres and Drogba, until, of course, he was injured, not really firing together. Mata looks a class acquisition, by the way. Scored on his debut in the 100 and something minute, because they'd added 11 minutes on for the Drogba injury. And Lukaku, the 18-year-old who you just heard from, he also did well. So there were a couple of encouraging signs for Chelsea, but they're not the old product just yet.
Thank you very much, Motti. Contrasting to, of course, their start last season, where they came out of the trap scoring 6 against West Brom, and then they were, you know, free scoring for at least a month, weren't they, before suddenly they had their mini crisis. They're building slowly this season.
Two telling, I think, comments from John Motson there. One, the fact that Chelsea aren't as crisp and as free-flowing as they perhaps should be. I'll be very interested to hear what the boys say on Match of the Day tonight about that particular point of view. And also, these two boys, Mata and Lukaku, look very fresh, look very hungry, and I'm going to enjoy watching them. I think they're two kids who could actually take Chelsea on.
I think the turning point, Motti was right, was the penalty. Just before that incident, it was Morrison. The game was at 1-1. Morrison had a chance to one-on-one with the keeper. Great tackle from Terry. But I thought the referee got the penalty spot on, and it was a sending off for me.
OK. Let's hear now from Swansea manager Brendan Rodgers. Saw his side complete a goalless draw against Sunderland. He's talking to Steve Bauer.
Brendan, are you pleased with the point, or perhaps a little frustrated you didn't get all three?
Well, I felt we created enough chances. It was a wonderful game. They've obviously got players that can hurt you as well, and you know, I've already been to Liverpool and got a terrific result. So we knew it was going to be a tough ask for us, but I was delighted with the players. I think that's our second clean sheet in 3 games, and even though we haven't scored today, it's not that we're not looking like we can't score. You know, the creativity in the team, and I just feel that we just need that little bit of lady luck that might, as I said, set us off in terms of our goal trail, because we've got plenty of players that can score goals. But no, it was a really exciting game, you know, for 0-0, and like I say, the goals will come, but it's also important in this league that you're very, very hard to beat. And you know, like I say, 2 clean sheets in 3 games also makes me happy.
Indeed, they've all played today, the promoted sides. They've all got points on the board, you know, 2 for Norwich, 2 for Swansea, 3 for QPR, although they suffered a defeat today, QPR. Of the 3, you've seen them all today. Who are you feeling most confident for that they can survive this division?
Norwich, me. I think they've started exceptionally well. QPR, getting beat 4 at home to Bolton, going Everton winning, but I thought they were a bit unlucky today, QPR. But Swansea, it was an end-to-end game today. In Sinclair and Dyer, they got pace out wide, but I believe Norwich have got the best chance of staying up, and I believe Norwich will.
There's a resilience to Norwich. There's something about Paul Lambert's sides. They're not pushovers, and I think that's going to be very, very good for them.
OK. You suspect, though, if Swansea had an out-and-out goal scorer, that today would have taken a lot of those chances. It could be very, very different, couldn't it? OK. Let's now get the goals from the Championship match at Selhurst Park. Martin Fisher is your commentator for this one.
Blackpool's corner, Billy Clark to take. Oh, almost an own goal from Ambrose, and somehow Palace get it off the line. It was Kevin Phillips who almost snatched the opening goal for Blackpool. With the ball in. Oh, what a save, what a fantastic save from Gilks. McCarthy denied with a bullet header. Taylor Fletcher. Oh, it's a lovely touch, it's Baptiste, it's a goal! It has been coming, it has been coming. And Alex Baptiste, who scored on Blackpool's last visit to Selhurst Park, puts the Seasiders in front 5 minutes before half-time. Southern took that smack in the face and has stayed down and against the bar. Moxey hit it, took a deflection, and the crossbar denies Palace. This was flying. Moxey. So the bad ball in that, and it's in! It's 1-1, and Glenn Murray has his first goal in the red and blue stripes of Crystal Palace. Garvin, that's a lovely ball. Murray is onside. Murray for Crystal Palace! Inches wide. Murray timed his run to perfection. Couldn't quite steer it beyond Matt Gilks.
OK, let's get back to the reaction from this afternoon's Premier League matches. Everton manager David Moyes saw his side grab all 3 points at Ewood Park with literally the last kick of the game. He's talking to Simon Brotherton.
Well, David, interesting finish to the match, and I suppose if you're going to go ahead away from home in added time's not a bad time to do it.
Doesn't really matter when you win the games, does it? But you have to win them, and we've done that in the end.
There's no coming back, really, I think, from a penalty like that at a time like that. There was a lot of debate about whether it should have been given at the time among the players on the field, obviously the Blackburn players on the field. If it had been your team and it had gone against you, might you have raised an eyebrow?
What, are you talking about our penalty or their penalties?
Well, I think we probably need to talk about all 3 penalties, don't we, to be fair?
Well, I thought you might have asked me about theirs first before ours. So I don't think either of theirs are a penalty. I think the boy dives on both occasions. And I do think Samba climbs on Fellaini to get there. So this time I always say it as a C. I think the boy dives for the 2 penalties, and I think Samba climbs, depending on what angle you look at it. I think Samba gets his 2 hands in Fellaini's shoulders and uses it for elevation, and you can't do that in the box.
You must have feared the worst, though. 2 penalties to the home side.
No, I've got a great goalkeeper who I always think can save penalty kicks.
Well, he did pretty well for you today. You had to hang in there, didn't you? It was a tough game, and Samba and Givet, perhaps in particular at the back for Blackburn, made it really tough with their experience to get past them.
Yeah, they've got a great home record, Blackburn. You look at what they've done over the last couple of seasons at Ewood. There's very few times they lose games here. I saw them lose to Wolves, and I thought, well, I can't see them losing too many more at home this season, because over their record they normally don't. So it's a great away win for us.
Well, you two disagree with David Moyes there.
Well,
I
like David Moyes, but I believe the Blackburn penalties were, and I believe the Everton's wasn't. For Moyes to say that Amber's got his 2 hands on Fellaini as he jumps, I thought he won it cleanly. I'll be interested to see what Lee and Alan have to make of it tonight, match of the day 1. But I didn't think that was a penalty. I thought Blackburn's were. Simple as that.
I think Everton have been extremely lucky. I think our reporter James Mason got it absolutely spot on. David Moyes was not very gracious in defeat, and he could have been.
In victory.
In victory, I beg
which
your
it could
pardon,
so easily have been a defeat, couldn't it?
It could have been a defeat.
If the Blackburn players had stayed on the pitch, who would normally step up for those penalties.
Point, Gabby. David Dunn and Pedersen going off, that was a huge turning point.
A lot of the game went in Everton's favour, and Everton didn't play well today at all. They got the break. They were very lucky to get it, and I think David Moyes, who normally is very fair, I think today was a bit mean,
but a
mean-spirited.
a good reaction is the players on the pitch. And as Garth said, when the ref Lee Mason gave the penalty, people were looking around, what's it for? Nobody knew, did they?
No one knew, and he had to explain why, and people went, what?
So I think Lee Mason...
And to make that so close to the end of the game.
Shocking
as
decision.
well, yeah. Interesting. OK, that will be debated, I'm sure, for the rest of today, if not the weekend, if you belong to those two clubs. The tea time kick-off is at Anfield. Liverpool taking on Bolton Wanderers. Liverpool off the back of that impressive 3 points they took from the Emirates last weekend. Let's get the team news now from Steve Wilson.
Kenny Dalglish makes just one change for Liverpool today from the side that won at Arsenal last weekend. Andy Carroll, who started at the Emirates, is amongst the substitutes and replaced by Luis Suarez, who is hoping to score in the first 3 Premier League games of this season. No Liverpool striker has done that since Robbie Fowler way back in 1994. Ivan Klasnic has also scored in the first 2 games of this season. He's in the Bolton starting lineup, which is unchanged. Gretar Steinsson having recovered from a foot injury, and Gary Cahill starts, despite the fact that it must have been a tough week for him, with Bolton and Arsenal at loggerheads over a possible transfer.
Thank you very much for that. Kick-off, of course, a few minutes away there at Anfield. What do you make of Liverpool? You've seen them so far this season, 2 matches. What do you think?
Yeah, I thought they've had a fantastic win at Arsenal. I still believe for £102 million they've spent since January, arguably only Suarez will get in the top 3, either Chelsea, United or City. I'm not sure the others. I think they've bought good players, but for £102 million, I'd expect better.
Not quite clicked yet, but I think there's a lot of promise, and fans will tell you if they've sensed that there's a chance of their team doing well, then they're moving in the right direction, I think, and Kenny's done that. I think there's a lot of optimism at Anfield now.
I think they need Gerrard back. I think when Gerrard's fit, where's he going to play, who's going to be left out, but as fit Steven Gerrard is the first name on the team sheet for me.
Changes things a bit for them.
Be sure about one thing, someone will be left out for Gerrard.
Yeah.
OK, Norwich ended up on the wrong side of a 3-1 scoreline at Stamford Bridge today, having been 1-1 at one stage. Manager Paul Lambert talking now to Jonathan Ledyard.
Paul Lambert, at one stage, 1-1 comfortable, and now you ended up losing 3-1. It must be quite a bitter feeling, I'd imagine.
That's because I thought we were excellent. After losing an early goal, I thought our performance was extremely high, and we never deserved that. But sometimes you get beaten by a bit of controversial, which I thought what happened. But performance-wise, I was proud as anything of them.
What's your view on the penalty? You've seen it a few times. It was obviously crucial to the game because your goalkeeper got sent off and Chelsea took the lead.
It was a big moment again, and as I said, I thought we had chances to go 2-1 up, and I've saw it. He was on the monitor, and to me he's gone down before he gets a nick on the ball, but you ain't going to get any decisions when there's a big crowd for the home team.
So you've suffered in a sense from small team syndrome, have you?
No, it's not small team syndrome. You're coming to a ground where the crowd are right on Chelsea's tail, and the referees more times than not will go with the home side, and but I just think he's going to the ground before he's got the nick on the ball.
You didn't agree with that, did you?
No, that again is a penalty. Ramirez, Ruddy's come out, full stretch. The touch off Ramirez was a bit heavy, but he's nicked the ball, he's going to score. It's a definite penalty and a definite sending off. I don't know what managers say.
Robbie, if you're going to, in the box, you've got to win the ball cleanly. Yeah. And he didn't. He didn't win the ball cleanly there, and he makes contact with the player. What is the referee left to do?
Red card.
It's a penalty.
Yeah, and a red card because Ramirez would have got the ball. It was a soft touch, so he'd have put it in an empty net. So, I think...
He's wrong.
He's wrong again?
He's wrong.
I'm wrong.
OK, lunchtime kick-off at the DW today. Saw Wigan 2-0 winners over QPR, and Guy Mowbray's getting a reaction there.
We knew that we had to start the season really, really strong, a little bit where we left it at the end of last campaign, and it's been really pleasing to see that feeling that we got as a team. We work extremely hard, and we got that competitive edge in the games. In the last 2 performances, we had good things and bad things, and today was great to put a performance together that is giving us 3 very valuable points, but more than anything is just to have a very intense period if you had in the pre-season and been able to have a little bit of a break with a real good feeling.
We're looking at the squad we've got now without any recruitment, we'd be in trouble, wouldn't we? So it's great. I think the lads know they've done ever so well today, and 4 or 5 players in the next week. We should have got one in today, Luke Young should have been finalised, but unfortunately, the administrating office at QPR, we don't quite know the rules yet about registration times. So we registered to try to get him at 2 o'clock, and it was 12 o'clock. So I'm disappointed in that as well. So it's not been a great few days.
Well, Franco, 2 goals today, both deflected. Are they both yours?
Yeah, of course. The intention was kick to the goal, so it's my goal.
And you hit them both well.
Yes. I try just the ball go to the goal, but they deflect and was a goal. So I am very happy for that.
Yeah, exactly. It's interesting.
OK, listening there to the reaction from the DW today. Of course, Joe Barton was in the stand, and Luke Young now also going to be involved with QPR. A few more players going to come towards the end of this transfer window, which only has a few days to run.
Exciting times.
Yeah.
If you follow the Super Hoops, I think Barton's a solid acquisition for them. As a footballer, he's got a lot of energy. He's very, very competitive.
Pugilistic.
And wants to win. If they can get in, they've got Luke Young. If they get Sean Wright-Phillips and 1 or 2 others, then they're a real candidates to top off the table.
No chance. Not for me. I think QPR will go down.
With all those players?
Yeah, I think they'll go down.
With all those players?
Yeah.
Wow.
OK, let's keep the debate going, rumbling over here, but we'll hear from Steve Bruce. Sunderland manager saw his side take away a goalless draw from the Liberty today. Steve Bauer asking the questions.
What's your assessment at the end of that one?
Well, Steve, if it's going to be a 0-0, then maybe it was going to be here today, wasn't it? Unfortunately, we've created enough chances away from home. We knew it wasn't going to be easy against a newly promoted team. It never is. So we're always pleased to get a point, but this number of chances we've squandered again really sums our week up. You know, we haven't played badly. In fact, in large periods, we've played very, very well and created enough chances to win possibly 2 matches. You don't usually get that in the Premier League away from home, do you? And that's the difference, you know. If you create them and miss them, then, you know, you're always liable. And unfortunately, we've been caught last week, we're nearly caught today again.
The lack of goals, which is going to be worrying him now, isn't it? 1 goal so far this season.
Garth highlighted before the game about Asamoah Gyan. You know, he wasn't on his game. He had 2 fantastic chances, didn't he, Garth? And he doesn't seem the same sharpness as he had last season.
And he could have squared them for his teammate to put the ball in the back of the net, an empty net. And he didn't. He let it go alone. And if you do that, you've got to score. And it sends a bad message to your teammates. You know, when you're working hard away from home, you work to get into position, you don't square the pass, and you don't score yourself. They're not playing well at the moment, son. They're not where they need to be.
Very briefly, we've got a few seconds left just to give me your assessment or your look ahead to tomorrow's big matches. Manchester United, Arsenal.
I think United will expose the lack of understanding between Arsenal's midfield 4 and back 4. I think they'll get in the holes. Young, Rooney. I think United will win comfortably 3-0.
I think United will win. United will win, but not comfortably.
OK, stay with me, guys. Thank you very much for your company today. You can have your say as well on 606 on Radio 5 Live with Darren Fletcher and Jason Roberts. I wonder what he's got to say about the dramatic way that match ended at Ewood Park this afternoon. Thank you so much for your company this afternoon. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.